All right, today we're going to be going over Roseville versus Rocklin, California. You guys have been requesting these Placer County town comparison videos a bunch in the comments down below, so I'm going to do it for you today. These are two Placer County powerhouses. They're the two big cities in Placer County that my clients are often choosing between, and I'm going to compare them today via 7 critical criteria so you can decide which one is right for your family, starting right now with criteria number 1, the community vibe or feel. All right, I won't bury the lead here. The community vibe or feel is going to be very similar in these two places. These are both suburban communities with houses, generally speaking, built out in new home building communities, and so it's all going to feel just about the same. Rocklin is going to have a little less shopping opportunities than Roseville, and it's going to have a little larger lot size, and you'll hear later it's going to have a lot smaller population. And so in general, Rocklin's going to feel a little bit smaller and maybe just one bump more rural than Roseville, but for the most part, the community feel is going to be the same in either of these. If either of these two towns appeals to you, you're going to be happy in either one. So let's get into some criteria that is going to make a bigger difference in your decision. Criteria number 3 when comparing these two communities, and one of the most important ones for most people and the most asked question I get, is what about the home cost? So housing costs is criteria number 2. And here there is a significant difference between the two communities. As the recording of this video in the fall of 2024, the median home price in Roseville is $652,000, and the median home price in Rocklin is $715,000. Now that is a big difference. Both communities have a lot of new construction. However, Rocklin, being smaller, is having less and less new construction. Roseville still has some land mass to eat up, and they're having more new construction. In Roseville, you can get new construction even in the high 5s, low 600s. So there is a big discrepancy in the median home prices. Now, compared to the greater Sacramento area, now I know these are in Placer County and Sacramento's in Sacramento County, but in general, these places are considered suburban communities in the greater Sacramento area. So clients who are looking at Sacramento are often looking and evaluating these communities as well. And so when it comes to the greater Sacramento area, the median home price for the entire area is $516,000, which for the state of California is actually a relative bargain. So both these communities, being in-demand suburban communities with lots of great amenities for raising families, command a higher price than the median for the greater Sacramento area, and that's something to consider. But when it comes to home prices, you are going to far and away be able to get more home for your money in Roseville than you are in Rocklin. Now, of course, that comes with some caveats. The builders in Roseville tend to be doing a lot more zero lot line homes. The builders in Rocklin have a little bit more space around the homes. And in general, although it's not a hard and fast rule, Rocklin tends to build more high-end luxury homes and Roseville more standard family homes. So if you are looking for a little bit more space around you and looking for a more high-end luxury home and price isn't really a problem for your family, Rocklin may get the win here. But if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, money-wise, in all of the Sacramento suburbs, Roseville wins hands down. I've got other comparison videos for you, but it wins against Folsom, it wins against Granite Bay, it wins against Rocklin. Roseville is the most affordable Sacramento suburb on that list. So if home price is a big consideration for your family, then Roseville definitely gets the win. All right, right about this point in the video, you're probably wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me about real estate, Roseville, Rocklin, or anything at all, really. And that's a fair question. My name is Rich Curtis, and I've been selling homes here for nearly 20 years in markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. So when it comes to Placer County, Sacramento County, El Dorado County, the greater Sacramento area, in terms of real estate, I've got you covered. My goal with this real estate channel is to help you make the highest quality real estate decisions you can from the comfort of your couch. So to that end, let's get right back to comparing these two amazing communities of Roseville and Rocklin so you can decide which one's right for your family. Criteria number 3 when evaluating these two communities comes down to size and population. And this is a place where the two communities vary wildly. Roseville is the largest city in Placer County with a little over 159,000 people as of the last census and about 44 square miles of land in the city. Now, Rocklin, by contrast, has less than half that many people at 73,000 and some change, and sitting on just shy of, not even a total of, 20 square miles of land. So Rocklin is a much smaller town with much fewer people. And so this goes into that community vibe or feel piece we talked about earlier, where it is a little bit of a smaller town, and it has an effect on other things as well in terms of traffic and in terms of access to new homes. Like I said, Roseville has a lot more land, at more than double the land of Rocklin. So they are still right now building out new homes in new home subdivisions, whereas Rocklin is getting to the point where it's almost completely built out. And although you have access to relatively new homes in the resale market, you're having less and less and eventually no access to brand new homes with new home builders, just because they don't have that much land left. So if continued access to lower cost new homes and new home subdivisions is something you're looking for in the place you're going to relocate, Roseville gets the win. And if a smaller town that's more fully built out and won't have construction noise and new communities coming online is your jam, then Rocklin might be the place for your family. Hey, I just noticed that 96% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're getting anything at all out of this video and you haven't done it yet, hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video with crucial information to help you with your relocation. Subscribing is always free. You can cancel it at any time, and it really, really helps out the channel. So thanks so much for taking care of that. Criteria number 4 when comparing these two communities is traffic. And both these communities are going to be significantly impacted by traffic. They are both served by the two major highways, Highway 80 being the bigger one and Highway 65 being the smaller one. And of course, if you live way out in Whitney Oaks, right at the end of Rocklin, you're taking 65 just to get to the 80. So in most cases coming from Rocklin, you're going to experience the traffic on both of these freeways. Now, also with the city of Lincoln out just past Rocklin continuing to build out and getting bigger and bigger, it's putting more and more pressure on Highway 65. So the traffic on Highway 65 has always been significant, but in my opinion, it's been getting worse and worse. Now they are doing construction, they are widening it, they are trying to alleviate this, but it's not enough. You're still going to have traffic on 65 and on 80 as a part of your daily life if you don't time things perfectly living in Roseville or Rocklin. But Rocklin being that one bump further out than Roseville, and huge chunks of Rocklin really having to take the 65 to get to the 80, that you're going to have more traffic and sit longer in traffic if you're living in Rocklin than you are in Roseville. Being that one bump further out, it's also going to take you longer to commute to Sacramento or even down to Roseville. There are more jobs in Roseville and in Sacramento than there are in Rocklin proper. So Rocklin, no matter how you slice it, you're going to have more traffic in your life living in Rocklin than you are in Roseville. So if sitting in traffic is a big deal for your family, Roseville might get the win here. But I do have to give this a caveat, which is to say that a majority of our viewers who are considering relocating to the greater Sacramento area or even El Dorado County are coming from the greater Bay Area or LA. And when it comes to those two areas, our traffic is going to feel like nothing to you. Maybe this traffic is a little bit akin to South Bay traffic, San Jose style traffic, but nothing like trying to get through downtown LA or in and out of San Francisco at peak commute times. It's not that kind of traffic. It's more of a 15, 20, at the worst, a half an hour delay to whatever you're trying to do kind of traffic. But it is daily, it does affect your life. And if you don't like that, that's something you have to consider before relocating here. Criteria number 5 when evaluating these two communities comes down to schools. And of course, schools is a huge topic for anyone moving into these communities with kids. You want to know that there's going to be great school options for your kids. And again, I won't bury the lead here. Both communities do great on schools, with both communities getting 7 or 8 out of 10 or higher on greatschools.org for most of their schools. Now there's going to be variations from school to school, and whether your kids are in middle school, elementary school, or high school, that might determine one community might have a little bit better score than the other. So if you're very sensitive to school scores, I recommend going to greatschools.org and checking out the actual grade level schools your kids would be in. But the caveat to that I tell everyone all the time on my channel is the only real way to tell if a school is a good fit for your kids is to get in the car, get out to that school, meet the principal, do a walk around, see what's going on at that school, and see if it's going to be a good fit for your child. So don't hang too much on the scores. But when it comes down to it, both communities have school scores that are higher than the state average. Both communities are known for having excellent schools, and you're going to be fine with whichever one you choose. If you still aren't sure by the end of this video if Roseville's right for you or Rocklin's right for you, or you're considering some other place in the greater Sacramento area, or even considering going more rural up to Auburn or Placerville, and you just don't know and your head's spinning with trying to make the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below. I've been selling homes here for nearly 20 years, and I've helped hundreds of families just like yours decide where to land in the greater Sacramento area, and I'm always happy to help. All right, now back to comparing Roseville to Rocklin. Criteria number 6 when comparing these two communities is cost of living. Now look, in general, most of the cost of living is going to be the same, except for home prices, which have some follow-on effects that we'll talk about, and utility prices. So let's get right into those. Now we already went over home prices, with Roseville having a median at $652,000 and Rocklin having a median home price at $715,000. Now you can ballpark your taxes in both communities at around 1.25% of the purchase price. So you can see you're going to have a higher tax burden in Rocklin than you are in Roseville if you're buying at the median. Now, of course, you can make a different decision in either community and buy a cheaper home in Rocklin or a more expensive home in Roseville, and then the taxes might be the same. But if we're running at the medians, you are going to pay more in taxes in Rocklin than in Roseville. Also, more expensive homes are more expensive to insure. So you're going to pay more in insurance. Now, if you have a loan on the property and you're impounding for your taxes and insurance, both of those are wrapped into your payment, which means higher payments for a home in Rocklin than in Roseville. So the cost of the higher real estate in Rocklin also makes a higher cost of living in those two other categories of taxes and insurance. Now, the next big difference comes down to utilities, and this is actually really huge. Roseville is on Roseville Electric, which is very similar, almost identical in fact in prices to SMUD's, Sacramento Municipal Utility District prices, both of which are nearly 50% of the PG&E prices, and you might have guessed by now, Rocklin is on PG&E. So it's going to have almost double the utility costs in Rocklin that you will have in Roseville. You're also that one bump out. You're going to spend a little more time in traffic and have a little longer distance to get to anything from Rocklin, so you might spend a little bit more in gas on the vehicles. But in general, your biggest line items that are going to affect you in terms of cost of living between Roseville and Rocklin are going to be the home price, which also is going to include your taxes and insurance, and the cost of utilities. Now, when you add all this up, it makes a dramatic difference in the cost of living between the two communities, with Rocklin being far more expensive to live in than Roseville because of these reasons. So if you're really sensitive to the monthly budget, then Roseville might get the win here for your family. Criteria number 7, and the last criteria on our list, comes down to recreation. And the two areas are similar in terms of the types of recreation you're gonna find, with local paved trails and lots of parks to experience, but they do have a few differences, coming down to the fact that, as we talked about earlier, Roseville is just way bigger, like more than double the square miles. So as such, it has more parks, but it's dramatically more parks. So Rocklin has 37 developed parks and Roseville has 87 developed parks. So it has 50 more parks for you to go out and experience with your families, and far more miles of paved bike trail to go and explore and enjoy as well. Now, don't count Rocklin out in the parks department, because they have some very unique parks, including Quarry Park with its amazing zip lines and rope swings set up. It's really cool. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link in the description down below. Check out some videos of Quarry Park. It's really cool, even to just come out and experience on a day trip with your family. So Rocklin's no slouch in the parks department, but anyway you cut it, they have way less parks and way less trails than Roseville, because they have way less land than Roseville does. Now, where Rocklin wins hands down is for the golfers watching right now. I've caveated this in other videos. I'm not a golfer. I'm an outdoor adventure sports guy, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, snowboarding, mountain biking, that sort of thing. I don't play golf, but a lot of my clients do. And my clients who are absolutely bonkers about golf, they're just avid golfers, they choose Rocklin hands down every time. With 34 golf courses within a 20-minute drive of Rocklin, it's kind of a golfer's paradise, with one of the most popular local courses being, of course, the Whitney Oaks course. So when it comes to recreation, it's really going to come down to what's important to your family. If you have young kids and you want a diversity of parks and trails so that you can try a new one all the time, then Roseville is going to be your jam. Or are you an avid golfer and you want to live in a community where you can golf so many courses you couldn't get them all in? Then Rocklin is going to be the place for you. All right, I told you I was going to do 7 critical criteria, but I always like to over deliver, and there's a bonus one that we just have to talk about. when we're comparing any communities, and that is employment. So criteria number 8 here is going to be employment. Now, both places are going to have access essentially to the same robust Sacramento job market. Now, when it comes to working in the community that you live, you're going to have a much greater potential to work in the community that you live in Roseville than in Rocklin, with huge employers down there like Kaiser, for example. However, if you're accessing the greater Sacramento job market, going down to the capital where you have state jobs, political jobs, a ton of retail jobs, of course, with the fountains and the gallery in Roseville, you have a ton of retail jobs there, more than Rocklin as well. Then Roseville is just going to be a shorter commute to those, but Rocklin has access to them as well. So when it comes to having access to a robust and diverse job market, both these communities have access to one of the most robust and diverse job markets in the state. You're going to have a lot to choose from when it comes to employment in the greater Sacramento area. However, if working and living in the same town, same community is important to you, that is going to be easier to do in Roseville than it is in Rocklin. All right, that wraps up our discussion of the comparison between Roseville and Rocklin, California, the two giants of Placer County. Most of my clients, if they're not going rural in Placer County, these are the two cities they're choosing between. And I hope this has really helped you decide which one is right for your family. Now, if you're still undecided, or maybe you have chosen one, you want to go a little bit deeper into one of these cities, you can click this video right here for the pros and cons of living in Roseville. And if it's Rocklin you'd like more information on, you can click this video right here on the pros and cons of living in Rocklin. And if you'd like to see some of the other local cities pitted in a head-to-head comparison battle like I did in this video, you can click this playlist right here for my town versus town comparison video playlist. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for making it to the end with me, and I'll see you on the next one.